Welcome back to the Portal Report Head Coach Showcase. Today I bring on a very special guest, Joe Golding, head coach of the UTEP basketball program. Joe, thank you so much for joining me, man. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
No, you got it, George. Thanks for having me, man, and look forward to visiting with you a little bit.
Yes, sir. So let's get right into it. You guys brought in, an impressive transfer class this offseason, but bringing in new guys, whether they're freshmen or all these transfers from all over, it's got to be some sort of challenge to get them all to gel together pretty quickly before the season. So how has this offseason gone so far, as the guys start getting back on campus, as you start working out and meeting these guys? How has it gone so far?
Yeah, we just really got our whole team together about the last 2 weeks. We were missing one. Jonathan from Florida Southwestern. He was able to get here a couple weeks ago. So now we officially have our whole team. And but it's been a good summer. I thought with the three guys that we have returning, they had a good spring. And then obviously adding the new pieces that we've brought in this summer. We're off to a good start. I think that's the biggest challenge now across the country with the portal. And bringing in new rosters each and every year and flipping rosters, especially at our level. It seems like we're having to do it with more kids. The relationship piece. The culture piece was big for us at Abilene Christian. That's kind of what we hung our hat on, and we did it with high school kids and develop them and built a culture and a program. And obviously times have changed, and you have to change with them. And so that's the biggest piece, not just for UTEP, but I think for programs across the country is can you establish your identity and build relationships with your players, and players build relationships with each other, because there's college basketball. The one thing that's not going to change about college basketball is the last 4 minutes of about 70% of your games. They're going to be one or two possessions, and we're big believers that if it means something to the teammates and each other, and not just on an individual way, but on a team way, that you have a better chance of winning that game. So relationships are big for us. We spent a lot of time working on it, and it starts this summer, but I think we're off to a good start, and I like how our team's gelling.
That's awesome to hear. And you talk about, the challenges of building that identity, building that culture up. And, obviously you turned around that Abilene Christian program completely with those 2 NCAA appearances. And now you're going into, this job at UTEP last year, and you're 1 year in, had a great year, 20-14 last season. But when you're, rebuilding your roster, when you're seeing guys enter the portal and leave your team, when you're seeing guys come in, you got freshmen coming in, compared to, when you had that culture of high school guys, organically growing them through your program and building that identity, is it harder to get them to buy in when these guys are transfers, when they may not have 4 years left? Is it harder to get them to buy into what you want to build as a program?
It's harder from a coaching standpoint because it feels like you have to do it every year now. The good thing at Abilene Christian, we had returners every year. You had 8 or 9 guys back every year. And so they kind of set the tone, and they kind of did it. And they'd been in the program for a long time. So when the new guys got in the program, they just followed the lead of the older guys. Now, when you don't have as many guys back, and you have a big majority of new players, you've got to, as a coach and as a staff, you have to establish that each and every year. So from that angle, it's definitely gotten tougher. The good thing, I think, George, from our angle is, it starts on the defensive end with us. There's no secret in that. And I think that's starting to get established out there that, if you play at UTEP, just like if you played at Abilene Christian, that you're going to have to defend, and there's a certain way we want to play. So I think guys know when we're recruiting them, that's an identity of our program. That's where it starts for us. And so I think they have a good idea of that going in. So that helps us when we're building that foundation defensively. Those guys know when they come to play here that they're going to be expected to play on that end of the floor. So that's helped from that standpoint. Offensively, we want to win. So we're not married to any certain concept, offensively. We're going to do what's best for our team to score as most points as possible. If that's playing dribble drive, that's dribble drive. That's ball screen motion, that's ball screen motion. If that's 2-game high-low, it's 2-game high-low. If it's pushing the basketball, if it's not playing as fast. Every team, I think, will be different each and every year now, because you can't basically say, hey, we got 10 guys back that we played this way and we're going to continue to play that way. I hope it's that way. We recruited 10 guys, scholarship players. This year we got 3 walk-ons. We have 13 new players in our program. I'm excited about that. We only have 1 guy in our program right now that this will be his last year. That's Shamar. Everybody else would have the opportunity to come back. And so you would hope fingers crossed that we're not having to bring in 10 guys each and every year, and we can kind of build a foundation here with this group and get a bunch of these guys back the following year. So to answer your question, yes, I think it's more difficult from a coaching standpoint because it's not as much program led now because you have different guys and you have to establish that identity and your culture each and every summer and fall now before the season starts. But it also excites me. It keeps you fresh. It keeps you motivated. It keeps you busy. That's for darn sure.
Right. So let's get right into that transfer class that you bring in. I want to start with a guy, Calvin Solomon, who, started all 32 games at Stephen F. Austin last year, over 9 points, almost 6 rebounds a game. What was the moment like when Calvin told you that he was joining the UTEP program, when he was committing to your program?
Oh, man, I was fired up, man. I was excited because I had a chance to compete against Calvin when I was at Abilene Christian. And obviously Coach Cox here on our staff had the opportunity to coach him. But it wasn't easy to get him. There were a bunch of people that were after him and a bunch of people wanting him. But the one thing about Calvin is he's a winner. If you go back to his high school days, he was playing for state championships. And you go back to SFA, he was a part of the team that made the NCAA tournament. He was part of the team that beat Duke. And he's won a ton of games at Stephen F. Austin. So when you're trying to build a culture, we won 20 games to your point last year. We're excited about that, but we got to keep this thing going. And so you got to surround yourself with winners and guys that have played at the highest level. And so there's no question that, he's one of the toughest kids that Coach Cox has coached. And I can see that through the summer. He can play multiple positions. He's got some versatility to him. He can defend pretty much 1 through 5. And then, he's a winner. He just has the intangibles. He's been around winning programs. He's working hard. We're trying to put some weight on him. He got here a little skinny. He lost some weight in the spring. And so we're trying to put some weight back on him. But he's working extremely hard this summer. I think he understands from Coach Cox and my angle of seeing at Abilene Christian what we expect. Another
guy you guys bring on, Mario McKinney. I remember watching his high school tape a few years back, and he was electrifying. I mean, he was obviously superior, a superior talent in that class. And now he's bounced around a few schools, but you guys bring him into UTEP this offseason. How has Mario looked so far, and what are you excited about with his game?
Yeah, we had the opportunity to play against Mario twice last year when we played New Mexico State. And when the opportunity came, when he wasn't going back, Coach James and I have a really good friendship. We've had it for a while now. And he's a guy that I trust in this business, along with James Miller and David Anwar. Those guys are, I wouldn't say, tight, but we're in the same circle in some extent. So they told me, Coach, you got to take this kid, and so we started recruiting him, and talent is not the issue with Mario. You said it. We know that. It's getting that talent consistently on the floor each and every night. Where we're challenged, Rio is, he went to Missouri, didn't work out. He goes to John Logan, and then he goes to New Mexico State, and he played a vital part. I was actually at the Abilene Christian New Mexico State championship game on the WAC tournament, and I thought he was one of the best players, if not the best player on the floor that night. He was a big reason why New Mexico State beat Abilene Christian, and so just trying to get that consistently each and every night, and for him to come here and play a bigger role than he has at New Mexico State. So he's got to work to do that. All 10 new scholarship guys. Competition is great. Competition breeds greatness. And we have a lot of competition right now. Every spot is open on our floor. There's not one spot that you can say, hey, this guy's coming back. And, completely different than last year's roster, where we had 4 guys that had played 30 minutes a game, that had started every game. Coming back, it's wide open. And so Mario's had his best week this week. He's been really, really good. Again, talent's not the issue. It's just building relationship with him. He's been to different programs. Like we just mentioned, so there's a lot of different ways that he's played basketball, and just getting him to buy into how we want to play and what we're doing here. It's a little different than what they did at New Mexico State. And that's okay. They had a ton of success in New Mexico State. They went to the NCAA tournament, and they won an NCAA tournament game and beat UConn. So there's different ways to play the game, and we're trying to get him to kind of play the game the way we want it played. And I think he's definitely heading in the right direction. But he's extremely talented. He's got a great personality. He shows up every day. He's getting extra work in, and I think he's going to have a great season.
It's great to hear. And I want to wrap this up now, Coach. Thank you so much for joining me here. But with one last question, I'll give you the floor. You guys had a great first season last year, at the helm of the UTEP program. You've got a whole bunch of new guys, like we just spent time talking about. What are your main goals, as a program for this upcoming season? What have you been telling your guys that they need to fight for this year?
Yeah, we're not going to shy away from expectations. I remember when I got here, I was a little bit shocked at the trajectory of our program, and it was not on the upward swing. It was definitely going down. And not just Coach Terry. It had been over a 10-year period. At one point in time, UTEP was one of the best mid-major basketball programs in the country. And so what we have to do is build consistency. That's the biggest thing. We can't have these 20-win seasons and then you go to 10-win seasons. We got to continue to move the needle forward and continue to push the envelope here and get UTEP back in the conversation of being one of the best mid-major programs in the country. And that's the hardest thing to do. At Abilene Christian, it's the hardest thing to do was to continue to push the envelope. So we're early in the stage of this. We're year one of coming back from winning 20 games. And now we've got to challenge our team to go win 20 again or win 21 or continue to compete for championships. And we don't talk a lot about win totals here, George, at our program. We don't say, hey, we want to win 20, we want to win 18, we want to win 24. We just trust the process and try to get better each and every day. That's our philosophy. It's always been that way, even when we were at Abilene Christian. We just try to continue to get better, build relationships with our players. We coach our players really, really hard in between the lines. We push them, we hold them accountable, but then off the floor, we love on them. We put our arm around them. We have fun with them. We build memories with them. And, we call each season a journey, and we like to have as much fun. It's not just basketball, that we're big on. There's a lot more than basketball that goes into this. So, that's what I'm looking forward to, but the expectations don't change. They can't change. If we want to continue to build the program that they hired me to build here, the biggest thing is just consistency, man. Can we be consistent? Like we have the ball, tie game, 12 seconds left in the quarterfinals. If we execute that and make the shot, we're in the semifinals, of Conference USA in year one. And so you got to get in that mix, and competing for championships. And if you get in the mix with the top 4 or 5 teams, in your league, you're going to have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament, and that's ultimately the goal at UTEP. And we had some big wins. We had some big wins in our program last year. We won a lot on the road. We were able to beat North Texas, who was the most consistent team in our league last year here in the last home game. So we did some things in year one that will excite our fan base and get our program back with a brand back to help us in recruiting. And again, in recruiting, I like this team. It's a team recruited of some guys that are undervalued. Maybe they got a chip on their shoulder, but those are our type of guys, and you go back, look, we're going to be an older team. We got a bunch of guys that this is going to be their 3rd year of college basketball, their 4th and some 5th year of college basketball. We have guys that have played at high levels. Got A-10 guys, Missouri Valley guys, like you said, WAC guys. I think don't have a lot of entitlement to them here. They got a chip on their shoulder. They're undervalued and they got something to prove. And that's been me, that's me. That's my career. I've always, had a chip on and had to start at the bottom and move up. And so I've really enjoyed coaching this team this summer. I'm excited about it. And to your point, the expectations don't change. We want to compete for conference championships and we want to continue to move the needle forward.
Thank you so much, Joe. We over here at the Porter Report, as well as many people around the country, will be watching that journey down there this season. Best of luck to you guys at UTEP this season. And really, thank you for joining me.
No, you got it, man. And congrats to you guys and what you're doing. I know you're new on your journey, man, but got a chance to look at your website. You guys are doing great things, man. And so congrats to you guys and best of luck. If I can ever help you out, let me know.
Appreciate that, Coach.
A good player in the portal too, man, that wants great weather, man, huh? Great
yes,
school,
sir.
Great weather, man. Let them know, man.
Yes, sir. Will do. Thanks, Coach.
See you, bub.